You're listening to Always Building.
All right, guys, welcome to the Always Building podcast. Today we got Ken Savage. Super excited to have this man on here. He's an expert at launching product launches and using some really creative ways, some really creative acquisition channels and stuff like that honestly you don't hear talked about that much. So Ken, welcome. And really just want to dive first off into your journey and kind of how you got into this stuff and anything about your education, anything about, your background in general, which would be awesome, man.
Sure. Thank you, Alexander. For me, one of the first things when I got on the internet, 1995 or so, whatever it was, the biggest thing for me is like, how do I find people and how do I promote myself? Back then I was drawing just like caricature kind of stuff, and I wanted to show more people. And if you had like a GIF or a JPEG or something that was 50K and 50 kilobyte kind of thing, it took 30 seconds to download kind of thing. So it was always interested in like, getting my stuff out there and maybe selling it. I don't know if I really did or not. Certainly not, but that's where I started. And that was like mid high school somewhere. That was like the beginning, way back when the internet, when the internet was completely different than it is now. But, there's so many channels and so many, audio, video, podcasting, all kinds of things you can get into. I think a lot of people feel like they have to do it all, and they get overwhelmed. I always say focus on one, maybe two channels and do those well. And then, there's millions and millions of people, or billions really, that are, could be online. Those people finding you are valuable if you can, really master one channel, not worry about a whole bunch. So.
Right. When you started doing the caricatures and stuff, like what were your channels back then? Was mostly just SEO and kind of the beginnings of that stuff?
Yeah, not SEO at all. It was, uploading to AOL, sharing with, people in my class or friends, family. It was like really old school, mid 90s kind of internet. So posting in chat boards and stuff like that was really how I did it. And I always used, my last name is Savage. So I used Savage as my handle. And, I went through a couple of different versions of that. So people just knew Savage and black and white, like little caricature things. And so cool. It was just fun. That was it. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I think there's some correlation there now between, the forums and the chat rooms and stuff now to where you got that, because I know now you're focused on a lot of the, product hunt and, Reddit and these kinds of places, which are sort of, Reddit is kind of like the updated version of that stuff now. So it's kind of interesting.
Reddit's got its own communities that can get really wild with, what was the one I saw a couple of days ago? Electricians who can't screw in a light bulb or something like that, something kind of silly. But it was all these like problems that electricians have that they share pictures that, how would you do this kind of thing? And you'll get dozens and dozens of other electricians on Reddit in this, subreddit kind of thing. It's like a whole community of thousands of people, thousands of other electricians, nobody who cares about NFTs or, football or anything else really cares about anything other than, being this electrician and having all these quirky things. So I found that extremely interesting. And then, there's tens or hundreds of thousands of other subreddits. I go in there almost every day. And every time, I use something which I don't know if your audience knows about or many people know about. You can go to redditlist.com and you can search for keywords better than you can on Reddit. And, it's also ranked by, followers and how fast the community has grown. So you can sort and find a lot of things you need to that way. But I use it for the search part of it. And it's very useful that way. And I was looking for, how to connect, can I upgrade from a 15 to a 20 amp service kind of thing or circuit breaker. And I found this community. And then I found myself just doing this for like 20 minutes, like reading all these posts, like, this is crazy, man. Reddit is amazing. And I've been on Reddit since the beginning, or maybe 6 months after they started it. I think it's 15 years now.
Yeah.
15 years. You get the little tokens on your profile. I think my original profile says 15 years, but I promote stuff, so I've got 8 or 10 other accounts that I have that are pretty active in particular industries. So it's hard to keep track of them all, but that's the original one anyway.
It's amazing, man. I know Reddit ads just did a big overhaul on Reddit ads. Do you have any thoughts on that? I was actually going to ask you specifically about Quora ads and Reddit ads and how you felt about those channels.
I have this agency, Product Launch Pro, that we do a lot of this promotions, the promotions on these platforms for our clients. Quora ads are pretty good if you have something sensational or something very specific, like if you're looking to paint your walls with a certain kind of draw on paint or something like that. Yeah, you can advertise a product like that. But if you're like, we sell the best eyeglasses in the world, it's not going to work. People want kind of, interesting, quirky, amazing stuff on Quora. Reddit is also the same way, but Reddit is more interactions on the platform rather than click and go off the platform. If you put something like, plenty of big brands, especially electronic brands, will put ads on Reddit because they're just doing a general spend across a bunch of platforms, and people see those. And if they allow comments, you'll see comments like, this sucks, this is horrible, you guys should, close, and all kinds of crazy stuff in there. Yeah, people who put something very specific. What was one? A mouse. How to catch mice. And they had this bucket with like this little trap, and they showed like the mice walking up the bucket, walking up the ramp, falling into the bucket, and it was like a humane way to trap mice without killing them. And then you put the cover on the bucket, you walk out into a field or somewhere else, not your house or your backyard, and you dump them all, and they all take off. So just that video, just that little animated GIF kind of thing, was enough to say this is a great ad, and you didn't need to read or click or do anything. You said, this is cool. It had, 1995 or something underneath that. If that was interesting to you, you click. I clicked, and now I'm, retargeted everywhere else. But I'm seeing these other kind of cool, I bought these coat hangers that are like these kind of stick figures on the wall. There's a whole bunch of like different poses that they're in. You can just like hook your, it's a quirky thing that just like, it's an impulse buy essentially. It was like $9-10 or whatever it was. I bought 2 or 3 of them. I stuck them on the wall. But they made a sale for me because of the original ad. Reddit works if you can do it that way. Some of the other platforms, I don't think it really works unless you have something that's really unique.
Interesting, man. That's intriguing stuff, man, because honestly, like, a lot of people don't even consider those they don't even consider them, really. You know what I mean? It's like you said, it's a lot of big brands with like wide spend, but it's not a lot of like really targeted stuff happening on Reddit. I've been kind of impressed by the SaaS stuff on Reddit recently. Like I saw SaaS and like weird, like it's true, like a quirky thing I saw recently, like a Facebook ads account. Like people getting their Facebook ads accounts blocked all the time. So these guys provide, verified Facebook ads accounts, that they're like renting from other people and shit. And they were doing it on Reddit. It definitely got my attention. But so let's dive in a little bit. I wanted to cruise into the product hunt stuff, man, because you're like the. I mean, when I was hearing you talking about product hunts, it was super inspiring, kind of to hear, about your ethos on it. And so I was curious if you could kind of describe, to us the perfect product hunt launch, and specifically for tech products, specifically for SaaS, for marketplaces, stuff like that. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are, like, on that process.
Yeah, I mean, we've launched about 440 products so far on Product Hunt for clients, anywhere from just writing the product descriptions, doing outreach, to influencers or other people that are out there, if they could take a look and, give support or feedback or whatever. And, even image quality or image, a lot of times on a SaaS, people just want to give you a screen capture of the dashboard, a screen capture of the, their profile page. And you look at it and you have to kind of squint and, it doesn't make any sense. Just putting titles, just making a little bit of color in the background and showing it just in a little unique kind of way makes a big difference on Product Hunt, where the typical SaaS founder or maker or even a product person in that company doesn't focus on that kind of stuff. So I always found, 3.5 years ago or so, when I really got serious about, submitting stuff to Product Hunt, that I could see if you put some effort, make it creative and unique looking and, put a little humor into something, it made a big difference with, the hunters and the, community that's on Product Hunt, rather than, we do this, we do X, Y, Z, click here and go sign up. That doesn't work. So even just, a lot of times I try to get a hold of, clients or customers and say, in the very beginning, this is what you want to do. You want to build intrigue. You want to build the curiosity level. You don't want to give away everything. You don't want to say, my SaaS does these 10 things great. Why do I have to click? Why do I have to click off a Product Hunt and find out what you do? I don't have to. You just told me everything. So I try to keep that curiosity level very high and say, we can help you do X, Y, Z. And we've got a great SaaS platform that's, mobile optimized and super quick on the best networks. Come check us out. We'd love your feedback. Something like that. That'll get a lot of play and interest from people. What founders care the most about is not really so much the number of votes, but how much traffic they're getting back to their site. That's, the name of the game in that kind of promotion.
And so do you kind of champion the reaching out to the influencers on Product Hunt and having them kind of co-op a launch, or do you kind of go more for like put it up there, do it, just create that intrigue and that mystery like you're talking about? Do you do you think that still works? That's the whole influencer world.
I'll be honest with you, that's why we're here, right? To talk about this. Getting hunters, getting the top 5, the top 10, or even the top 20 hunters to hunt your product or to submit your product to Product Hunt and list you as a maker is interesting, is cool, but it's not as important as it used to be a long time ago. I feel, and I think a lot of the community feels, if the actual makers of the product submit their own products, it looks much better that way. Like, this is my product. I'm putting it out there for the world to see it and, to check out. I'm here to answer any questions. I'd love any feedback. If you can vote, that'd be great. But, that's what they're looking to do. Hunters, I feel, are less, some of the top, if you look at the top 5 hunters, Messina and, this is what happens when you work 10 hours a day. You stop forgetting things.
No
Kevin, some of those guys, they're part of the community. They answer questions. They go to the meetups. They're tweeting about stuff. They're giving feedback on Product Hunt and, other products that they see. Little quirky little details that they find in product that they like or don't like. They share that stuff. That stuff gets fixed. So I think that's where hunters are most valuable. They obviously submit products every day or most of the time, and they're valuable that way. But I don't think it's as necessary for a product to use a top hunter anymore like it used to a few years ago. Everyone would get notifications. You get thousands or tens of thousands of notifications for your product when you launched it because of that hunter. Today, I just think, like I said, not to be too redundant, but if you hunt your own product, I think it looks much better for you. Just have a great submission, great imagery, great product description, tell people what you do and get out. Don't make it too wordy.
No, that's really good insights, man. I know that's like one of the most confusing things when you're first getting into it, because the strategies from a few years ago kind of pop up, and it's like, how do you do this? But yeah, I agree, man. I think being genuine, right, is the best. So Makes sense. So I'm curious also, you talk a lot about a prime marketing statement in your words. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. And I was curious if you could kind of dive into what do you mean by a prime marketing statement? And, what is the, what's kind of the results from that kind of thing?
So what the hell does your business do? If you got this, I can help people work from home better or something, just tell me what you do. It's the, USP, unique selling proposition, or what makes you unique compared to the other competitors or other apps or SaaSes that are out there. Just tell me what you do. And, I always like to add a little humor or, something that's a little bit intriguing. You can, the hot thing today is to say AI or Web3 or something else, some other buzzwords in there, but just tell me what you do. And, if you want to direct me to a product hunt page or your landing page or, whatever it is, your funnel to get people involved, great. But don't promise me the world. Don't tell me the problems you solve. Just tell me what your product is doing or your service is doing for me. And people either, appreciate that or they don't need it, kind of thing. It's just, you don't want to waste people's time with, I've got the most amazing thing in the world. You need to come check this out. Click here. I click, you're selling, iPhone cases, sorry, I'm gone. It's just, you're wasting my time. So tell people what, your USP, if marketers are out there that want to look that up, or, what makes you unique to everyone else that's out there, and what are you doing differently that's beneficial for this user, this visitor coming to your site.
So yeah, and you've got a great example on your Twitter. You had a little thread there that you kind of went through some examples and stuff. So everybody listening, you can go check Ken Savage on Twitter. He had a really nice, that prime marketing statement is just to cut it down to one sentence and just get it clear, so clear, you know what I mean, that someone else can just understand in 1 second and go, okay, yeah, it's intriguing or it's not intriguing.
Product Launch Pro is my company. We help companies launch their product to the internet. That's it. You don't have to say, we do this, we do that, we can help you, we can get you all these, blah, 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 whatever. Just people don't want to need that. They don't need that. We help launch companies on the internet, digitally, whatever. That's it. I always have to think things through and it's kind of whiteboard things, but, these are iPod Pro, what the hell are these called? AirPod Pros. These are our product, and they're smaller, faster, lighter, better than anyone else. That's it. You just have to tell people what your product is and does, and give them a call to action or have them move on. That's it. Don't waste people's time. If they get pissed off at you, if you give them a link, they're going to downvote it. They're going to comment on it. If you piss them off enough, they're going to go out of their way to ruin your day, kind of thing. So you don't want to do that. You always want to, keep people's time in mind when you're doing real, noisy kind of promotions or disruptive promotions. If I just, put these here on the side of the road and say, buy these, that's fine. But, if I go out and say, you need to have these are amazing. You can't, go do anything without these. And if you're like my mother, who doesn't even own a cell phone, these are pointless. So people go out of their way to, ruin your day or downvote or, wreck things for you. Don't piss them off. That's it.
Especially on Reddit, man. Good God. If you take the smallest little sidestep the wrong way, man, that's just a barrage of bad juju or whatever you want to call it right there.
It can be, and that makes for some really funny threads that there are websites and services that share that kind of stuff, and I see a lot of them almost every day. But yeah, just don't, there are trolls out there, so you pay them mind or no mind or whatever you want to do, whatever energy you want to expel on them. But yeah, if you're promoting something and it's, your business, your livelihood, or your clients, don't waste people's time. Just get right to it.
Yep. Keep it simple. Like you said, I love it. Cool, man. I want to dive a little bit into you getting mentioned on CNN, man, and that kind of newsjacking stuff. Do you want me to cover? We don't need to cover that if you want to. You've covered it quite a bit, but I think that story is just kind of epic. Like a lot of people out there like building companies, doing their thing, and they're like, think that's a total pipe dream that can never happen. And I think you're a good proof that it's just like, dude, you can end up in these places.
So yes, newsjacking is a real thing. Go to helpareporterout.com if you want to start connecting with journalists, big and small, bloggers, podcasters. A lot of people are on there. If you want to start connecting with media, offline media, online media kind of thing, you can, you basically list yourself as some kind of expert in whatever you do, and you give a little bio of yourself, and then, journalists can find you and you could submit pitches to them. I did that, a while ago, and I created this blog that I thought was interesting for privacy concerns when Facebook kind of first opened up their advertising platform, and they started putting these first and third party cookies on everyone's site, and they were really tracking everything that you did. It was getting really creepy. I didn't like that. I'm a bit of a hacker myself and kind of work with RFID tags and some other stuff that's interesting and fun, but that kind of bothered me because they had, at the time, tens, hundreds of millions or whatever it was at the time, people on their platform, and a lot of people had no idea about this stuff. So I wrote a little bit about it, how Facebook is, manipulating people and talking about, what they don't talk about what they really save on people. Wrote this blog post up, 4 or 5 posts. I sent it to a local newspaper who got, they picked it up and did a little blurb on it. I took that blurb, I moved it to Boston.com or the Boston Herald, a bigger newspaper in the Boston area. They did an article on it. I took that article and brought it to a number of online tech sites, CNET being one of them. CNET picked it up. I took the CNET article to a number of mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC. Yeah, it's been a while. I can't remember a lot of them. But, I talked to, the people at Harpo or Oprah. I talked to, Larry King Live show when I was on there live one night. Homepage of CNN.com for a day and a half. My ugly picture and my, little blurb about me and, Facebook is doing this to you. You might want to take a look. And there was a whole article. If you just search for Facebook, Ken Savage, and CNN or something, you can go read the article. But that brought me 1.7 million people to my webpage in a week. So lots of traffic, if you want to call it newsjacking or, growth hacking or whatever it is. But that brought a lot of traffic. And I just happened to have How to Protect Yourself ebook for $19 for sale there.
Damn.
And I made quite a lot of money.
Wow.
And it was buy it, download the PDF, and there was no support needed. A lot of people want to comment and they like me on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but there was no other work that I needed to do. I just sold like 65,000 copies of it or something in that week. The conversion rate actually wasn't very good for that amount of traffic, but you sell, 65 something thousand copies in a week. Nothing
to shake a stick at, man. I'm curious on the thought process on that. Was that something, because I think, for the folks listening, I think a lot of us, are not thinking in that mode. Everybody kind of goes for the low hanging, I shouldn't say low hanging fruit, but they go for the Facebook ads and the YouTube ads and blah blah blah. But how did you kind of come up with that idea? Was that just something that does it come from some other experience, or does it come from some education that you had in the background there? Where did that kind of theory or that? How did you put that into practice? How did you come up with that idea, man? Honestly, I'd like to dive a little behind the curtain a little bit on it, if you don't mind.
Everyone says, I'm a great marketer. I used to sell lemonade on the corner, when I was a kid. I didn't do that stuff. I always wanted to pull things apart and break things and, not necessarily really put them back together, just see how stuff was made. I built the first computer, way back in like the mid 80s. I was pulling apart electronic stuff and, making my own little doorknobs that would open themselves and, little actuators and stuff that did stuff. So I just felt that was fun. When 1990 came around, I bought HTML for Dummies and learned how to build a website. There was no GUIs, no tools then. You had to write it HTML yourself.
Yep.
I put very, very basic pages up. How do I get more people to those pages? I stuff keywords in the meta description, meta titles.
Yep.
I put white text on white backgrounds, and that worked back then up until Google came along, or even a little bit when Google was, growing. Yahoo, Excite,
Alta Vista,
yeah, all those search engines. I wouldn't keyword stuff ridiculous stuff. I would put, the best way to light your bedroom. And I put tens of thousands of keywords in the background, and it ranked and did very well for that kind of stuff. So I said, this search engine optimization stuff is easy to do then, and let me do more of it. So I would build pages almost weekly. One of the best ones I had was nose spray addiction or Afrin addiction. .com, .net. I think I had a few of them.
Oh, I love it.
I just talked about nose spray stuff, and then I redirected it. Once I started getting real traffic to it, like tens of thousands of people did per day. I think 60 or 70,000 people was like one of the biggest days that we had for whatever reason, wintertime or something. I reached out to a company that makes those nose rinse things, and I said, hey, I've got all this traffic on my site. You should buy an ad or something on my site. And they said, you know what? We're going to buy your whole website and whatever network of sites that you have this kind of traffic for. And I said, great. And I made them a ridiculous offer, and they jumped at it. And I said, shit, I should have doubled it. I didn't know. I didn't know back then. So I made a good chunk of change for a blog post that SEO was, the way that I brought all those people in there, and it just worked back then. It was EMDs, exact match domain websites.
Right.
So if you want to rank for nose spray addiction, you get nosesprayaddiction.com. If you want, cattraining.com, cattraining.net. And that's another site that I had. So I built a lot of those sites, probably 2 or 3 per month. I put up a dozen articles, and it was basically all, hacked together, keyword stuffed SEO, on-page SEO kind of stuff, and a few dozen links pointing to these things just from search directories and Lycos and sites like that. Yep. It worked back then, and it was all I had to do. And then, there was no Flippa, there was no FE International, there was no big brokers out there where you could sell these sites. So I had to reach out and say, who would want to buy this traffic on this site that I have? I would reach out to potential clients. I'd reach out to 20 of them. 18, 19 of them would say, the internet's silly, or, no, thank you. We're in stores all across the country or something.
Right.
But 1 or 2 of them would say yes. And, that's where I made my money. I made a private sale that way, and they had no idea. They were $1 billion companies, who knows? And, I just said $50,000. They were like, okay, sure. We'll contact you with our engineer or something. They'll take everything over. And that's the stuff I did back then because SEO worked for me, and that was my acquisition channel. Today, the acquisition channels are much different, or much more robust, or, there's a lot more of them. Even Clubhouse 6 months, 8 months ago when that came out, people jumped on that. I hated it, but it was the buzzy thing to do at the time. Things like that come and go. Twitter Spaces are whatever it's called nowadays is popular, but there are a core 4 or 5 channels right now that are just classic and they work. But places like Reddit, Product Hunt, if you do it correctly, can make a big difference very quickly in one day, or just really a couple of hours, and you could potentially get hundreds or thousands of targeted people traffic to your site That's kind of what has been my thing for the last few years. I'd rather focus on that. It's, real quality rather than trendy stuff like Clubhouse or,
Right.
I would have said a few months ago, NFTs are silly and they're buzzworthy, but another thing that the adult industry, if they on the internet, I think they are some of the absolute cutting edge creative people when it comes to marketing. Clearly they have a very specific audience that they're marketing to, but the techniques that they use for promotion are amazing, and I kind of follow some accounts and some email lists and stuff just to see what they're doing. They were doing NFT kind of stuff. It's not exactly the same with the Ethereum, the base behind it or anything, but they were doing kind of that same thing with just imagery, because the adult industry is all imagery, and selling products that way, just not non-fungible token kind of thing, but DRM kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Way back then, and that's kind of like, to me, that's very progressive with the promotions that they were doing back then, but they would sell them for hundreds of thousands of dollars, autographs or little videos that would have somebody's name shouted out or something. That's the stuff they were doing back then. Today, that they're NFTs. There could be something really to it. I think there's going to be something really to it, but 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I would have said this is a trendy thing that's going to come and go very quickly, but clearly I was wrong.
That's very interesting, though, man. It's an interesting take. I definitely never thought of that angle, like that the adult industry kind of leads the marketing, because they're banned from everything else, right? So they kind of have to find these very creative ways of doing it. So it makes sense.
Pop-ups were huge I got to date myself, but probably like 2005 or 8 or something like that. I'd have to think about when it was, but they would have these pop-ups that it wouldn't just, a box would just come up. They'd change your browser experience. Another browser would pop open and then leave the browser page you were just on in the background.
Right.
And you'd have to look at this new page. You were forced to, or click it or close it, or, Control F or whatever it was, F4 or something, whatever it was, to close it. And that it forced you to kind of experience that for like 10, 15 seconds before it shut down also. So they were, some of the real innovators that I looked at some of that stuff and just said, these are true growth hackers, or people that, if we can make people look at the screen and, look at these, pretty people, we are going to make a shit ton of money. So it's worth their time to do that kind of thing. Even today, I still see, everything is video, everything is online tube sites kind of stuff, online chatting and live experience. VR is kind of getting to be a thing, but that's going to take some time. I look at a lot of that stuff and say, how can I apply that technology that they're using now into, the stuff that, will help the, photographer down the street, or, the, blue collar worker down, with 2 trucks and a HVAC company down the street. I talk to a lot of these people, and, they always say, how do I get more customers? I don't care about websites or Yelp or Facebook. I just want my phone to ring more. So I help them promote themselves better using the right websites, the right techniques, the right platforms, essentially.
Really amazing, man. Really amazing. I mean, it's, I was going to tell you, I actually grew up with a hacker guy. It was like one of my best buddies, and he's a bit older than me. And he was doing, he used to do this thing. This offer was insane. He would go to companies and say, I'll get you #1 on Google, guaranteed. And it's this much. Back in the white text on white backgrounds days, like he would have
do that. Oh yeah, that was easy.
These bots, like, I don't know, I think they were PHP or Python bots, but he had these bots where it was like PBNs, like on acid, where it was like 1 million PBNs doing this thing. Man, it was the craziest. I used to watch him do this shit and just like crack up, man. I was like a kid just going, wow, this is the heyday of the internet in some way here.
Yeah, even PBNs, even like 8 years ago, maybe even like 6 years ago, used to just be so easy. I used to build those myself
Yeah.
and take all the time to unique, IP address or Class C IP addresses, different web hosts. I probably had 12 different web hosts with 5 or 6 different websites in each web host. Probably a network of 40, 50 sites that all would link to my money site, and it would rank easily for most of those keywords that I wanted to rank for back then. Google cracked down and quality of content and all that kind of stuff. They cracked down on that, and that didn't work as much. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Wink, wink.
But if you buy quality sites, if you buy expired domains, and that's something I'm starting to get into again. Expired domains are the black box or the secret weapon. If you can get a good one with a great backlink profile and stand up the same content that it had, if you just go to the Wayback Machine or archive.org, look at all the old content that was there, copy paste it, hire somebody to copy paste it for you, put that same content on the new domain that you have. It ranks within a couple of weeks, and then you can start sending new backlinks to those pages. I always do internal pages, not really the home page as much. It doesn't take much, maybe a dozen or 15 or so. I'm starting to see local, lesser competition sites stand back up and start ranking again very quickly, a month at the very most. And a lot of that stuff I just kind of contract out. I don't want to do that busy work anymore. I stand up a ghost site or a WordPress site now, or some of them are just plain HTML or no code driven sites. I can just copy paste the text, put a very basic template up, and just run with that, and it works. That gets you your first 100,000 visitors in a day or a week or whatever your goal is. Wow. And from there, you can start to look into all these other platforms and channels to market yourself.
So you're really still heavy in the SEO stuff. It sounds like you're still testing that stuff, trying new things all the time.
I delve in it with side projects just to stay current, but I am not an expert with SEO because I'm not in it every day. When it comes to schema, certain markup, to me, it's the right website, the right content, and the right backlinks. That's the bread and butter, the stuff that I've always stuck with. The industries, the really crazy shit, batshit crazy kind of industry stuff that I get. How to train a cat to go to the bathroom on a toilet. Drone flying. Drone flying mishaps, or some other website that I found with thousands of backlinks from high quality sites like Boing Boing and very high DA other domains linking to them just because they had funny viral kind of content. I took that site, it was expired and nobody picked it up. I bought it. I put the same content up there. I put a couple of videos that were still on YouTube up there, maybe 4 years old. It did great. Sold it on Flippa. It was a quick turnaround of 2 months. You can continue to do that stuff, but it's just a matter of time, resources, how much energy you want to put into it. What are you really going to get out of it? Is it a 3-month play, make $5,000 off of it, or am I going to keep this for a couple of years and make hundreds of thousands? I bought productlaunchpro.com off of a friend on Traffic Think Tank Slack group, another SEO, I think the best SEO group that's out there. I bought it from him because he wasn't using it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is exactly what I do, and I am a pro, and this should be mine. So whatever you want for it, and we just swapped, and I took it from there. And I looked at building on a very simple site, and that's my service or my agency now. It doesn't have hardly any content on it. It just works that way. But I have other, product hunt launch, Reddit launch type domains that just suck up a bunch of organic traffic. And if you need help, go to this site. And those are my PBNs, I guess,
Yeah. Kind of the modern
nowadays.
VPN.
They're real sites. They have quality content, and they're not just spammed or spamming and jamming is what we used to call it back in the day. But they're not. They're quality sites with real information. They've got a newsletter or something, or sign up for a newsletter kind of thing. But if you're looking to launch your product, here's an agency that does it, and that links to my real site. So that's the kind of stuff that works today, and I could put more effort into it, but I don't need to. I'm pretty active and busy now, so that's the channels I use now for self-promotion, I guess.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. No, I think everyone listening is soaking up a lot of value right now. Believe me, man. Just in terms of it's sort of like the lineage of this stuff, and I happen to know kind of a lot of what you're talking about. It's just like, yeah, there's definitely like the new techniques, and you've mastered them, man. It's I'd say you're an SEO expert from what you're saying. So anyway, moving on to SaaS, man. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about SaaS real quick. SaaS is obviously, like, I don't know, for me, it's my favorite business model out there right now. Like, it's just it's a gold mine. So I want to ask you about SaaS pricing strategies, and just kind of, specifically pricing strategies. One thing that I saw you talking about, and I thought was really intriguing. And just kind of raising prices and this whole ethos, but just in general, your thoughts on SaaS right now, and kind of, if someone's trying to get into SaaS, what does that look like, and what's your prescription?
I've built and sold 2 SaaS products that I thought were very valuable, that I probably could have made a career out of, or at least a long-term business. I get bored and I get greedy, or I want to go off and do things that are fun and not sit in the office and work too much,
right?
Like most of us. But so I always say, what is a fair price that somebody would pay for this, for me and for you? Mm-hmm. So $9 or $27 product kind of thing. That's great for ebooks or little mini courses or something. But if you have a SaaS that really does a service for somebody, for their business, for what did I see? The rolling credits on movies, or if you create a video or movie, to make the actual rolling credits, this company would do something for you where you could unlimited edits and export and import into whatever, Adobe Premiere or something, to have your rolling credits in your movie edited constantly, because I think that's a big problem for that industry. Somebody created a SaaS around that, and it's clearly a SaaS. It's not a service that you have to manhandle constantly kind of thing. So they built something, and they said, what is this worth? I was talking to them about it, and what do you think something's like this worth? I said $500, and they're like, oh my God. I was thinking like, $19.95 a month or something. I'm like, no, this is a one-time service that they're going to use for their video, or maybe some other videos that they do. Very valuable, because it's very difficult to re-edit that stuff over and over, or unless you're an expert in Adobe Premiere constantly. So this is a high touch. Oh, sorry, it's a low touch for you. It's a very high need for your customer. Mm-hmm. Charge them, rightfully. You don't need to have 10,000 clients that are paying you $19. Have hundreds of clients that are paying you $500. So he started off there, and as soon as that word started spreading that he had this service, it did great. If he charged $19, I would look at that and say, you're probably going to just give me a JPEG or something, or an animated GIF, and that's it. It looks low quality. You charge somebody, top dollar for something, or you're doubling your prices every couple of months. Yeah, you start to lose, what money Twitter calls broke boys, or people that pay small money for something and then just want constant support, or they want their money back, or you need to wake up at 3 a.m. and help me because I've got a problem because I gave you $19 of my hard-earned money for your ebook on how to make web pages or something. So yeah, charge people something fair, not ridiculous, but if enough people are using your service, double your prices every. It's hard to give it really a formula, but every couple of months, If you can't double your price to get to some 2, 3, I think I've doubled my prices 5 times for my promotion service.
Yeah.
I was doing what I do now for $250 a day for promotions, and people were getting thousands of visitors and, newsletter signups, subscriptions, SaaS subscriptions kind of thing. They were making a ton of money. So I said, all right, I'm going to go from 250 to 500. No problem. Nobody barked at it. Nobody questioned it. 500 to, I think I went 1,200, 15, 25. Now I'm 25 to 5,000, depending on what they need. And that's typically, one day's worth of work. It's a lot of work that day, but what they're getting for that day is, a lot of valuable information. So when it comes to pricing something, I always say, people are going to have customers are going to have that FOMO thing where they have to buy something, so it better be cheap. But experts or subject matter experts that are selling their courses, ebooks, whatever their SaaS subscriptions, if you're making somebody money, it's easy to say you're going to make $200 if you give me $50. If they give you $50 and you sell 25, 30 of those subscriptions, now you're $49. Now you're $99. Raise your prices, and you'll maintain, as long as you're decent quality, you got good customer service and that kind of stuff. But you'll maintain your sales ship over days and weeks. You should not see a drop. If you see a drop, then maybe that's the tipping point. You can't charge somebody hundreds of dollars for something where they're only going to make $100 or $200 or just break even. You can't do that. So that's my idea when it comes to charging or really SaaS subscriptions. Start at $50. I'm not buying anything and taking it serious if you're going to sell me something that's $5. Gumroad is huge for that. There's a lot of products that are very good. A lot of it's short and sweet, and should be $5 or $9 or something. But there are some things that that I've bought that are PDFs that I promoted something on my Twitter handle just earlier today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
To users. That was a PDF that I bought that someone did some research. They interviewed hundreds of people and about acquisition channels, what works, what doesn't. I think that was free, but I would have paid $100, honestly, not because I got $100 sitting around I want to burn. But when I read that and I looked at it, I said, shit, this is really good stuff. This is my, I got a stack of, PDFs and stuff that I usually just print out just to keep. I lose stuff on my computer all the time, but this is one of those things that I'm going to keep that I look back often. And it's been like a year, or I think it was last winter when I bought or downloaded this thing. And Darko on Twitter, it's 02 users is his Twitter handle. He still gives this thing away, for free. I think you could charge for it, but I think it's really a content upgrade or a lead gen source for him. If it is great, you're doing it. If he's just being a nice guy, well, I'll give you a tap on the shoulder kind of thing, but you should be charging for that kind of thing because I'm sure he's got lots of downloads of this. But that kind of content I would pay for, and I don't. SaaS subscriptions, $50 a month, no lifetime deals. I don't believe in if you're making people money, if you're making people look extra good to their clients because you've got some amazing service that'll do XYZ much better than you can do yourself. Charge people right for it. The $19, the $10, the $24 a month. I mean, it's just not worth your time. It's more valuable to you. It's more valuable to them than and it's worth your time to double your prices every couple of months. You want to start off at $19 a month? Great. Do that for a month or two. When you start getting people and start fixing your bugs and things like that, double your price until you see a drop. And then what that tipping point is. you can kind of ease back on it or run a 2-for-1 special or whatever you want. No lifetime deals. That's the quick, I'm looking to build a bunch of users and then sell this. And just don't be cheap.
Man, I love it. I love it. So much value in that little rant there, man. I'm seriously, I think for everybody listening, it's like, man, keep raising your prices, man. The value's there, if the value's
People
there.
are going to be scared. The idea of like, am I good enough? Am I, do I deserve this? That's bullshit. And you need to get past it as quick as possible. That, what do they call it? The imposter syndrome. The quicker you can get past that, I'll build a course this weekend, and it'll take me 10 hours to build. It'll be 3 hours of content. I'll sell that for $99. I'm going to get a few people to buy that right off of Twitter, and it'll be great. I'll help them out with something. They'll make some money. I'll teach them how to build, lead gen course or something like that. And I'll say, you are my foundation students or, users or whatever. This is great, and I want to see you grow. Let me know how, whatever I can do. Then I'll take the $99 and maybe move it down to $49, $79 and just, sell the hell out of it. But I'll never get down to $19 or $34 or whatever, people want to use, because it's, it cheapens your product. At the same time, I put some money into this. I put some time into this. You're going to make some money with this or save time, which is the, the ultimate thing everyone wants to do. Yeah. Charge for it. Don't be scared. Do it.
Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, that confidence, man. Just get out there and do it. Man, Ken, this is fantastic. I got one more question for you, man, and then we can start to wrap it up. I know you're a busy man, so here's my question to you. So right now, man, you got some serious stuff under your belt. You've done a lot. It just sounds like you've done a lot, man, in your career so far. It's been a lot of different stuff. You've just, you touched a lot. So you touched B2C. You're helping local businesses when you can, and just in your community. You're helping bigger brands doing tech stuff. You're helping, it's just such a mix too. It's B2B, it's B2C, it's all this stuff. You're just like a marketing mind and a hacker mind and a breaking it apart kind of mind and all these, and a creative mind as well. You got this design element. You've got just everything is all, you're like a Renaissance student in some sense here. And my question to you, my last question here is, right now you're running an agency and I want to call it an agency. I think that's basically what it is, right? You're running a service business. And I'm curious sort of where you made the pivot. Like, so you build SaaS projects, you sold them. You build SEO properties, you sold them. Maybe you still have a couple of those floating around, but now you're focused on a service business. And I'm kind of curious why? Or why do you prefer doing that? Or what kind of joy do you get out of that? And I, just kind of curious about that pivot, because a lot of times it's the opposite, right? People kind of start with the service thing and then they kind of drift away from it. So I'm curious sort of how that trajectory worked for you.
So I had my own products and blogs and info products kind of stuff. And I could only promote so much of that myself. I started to use the acquisition channels for myself, and I can't promote 10 things of my own in a month. And I said, this stuff, this promotion channels that I'm using now, Reddit, Product Hunt, basic SEO and some little technical SEO hack kind of stuff to get traffic is working now. So let me reach out and help past places I worked or friends of friends. And, I've got some friends in some very large unicorn type companies or, $100 million companies kind of stuff. I say, hey, I got this thing, I think I can get you a lot of traffic. Would you want to check it out and, give it a shot for both of us to see if it worked? It worked. I've launched a unicorn company a number of times on the platforms, I'll just say. And, we did one 3 months ago, and they saw 12,000 visitors in the 24 hours that they were on product.
Wow.
I didn't do anything other than tweak. Well, I didn't tweak. I rebuilt the submission that they were doing to build that intrigue and a lot more curiosity rather than, we are this brand and, buy and download our stuff just because, the Microsoft way. We are who we are, and you're going to buy. Rather than going with a lot of, promotional, like intrigue, curiosity level, I'm fixing this problem. We have a solution, couple of little images that show that, but, not exactly give it everything away. And people click and they go to the site and they can sign up or subscribe or whatever at that point. So I think those little things are the tweaks that I thought worked 2 years ago. I said, let me start a side business. I opened up a PayPal account. I started sending invoices to people. They said yes. I doubled my price after a couple of months. I doubled it again. I told you how much I am now. So it's a premium service, but you're going to get thousands of visitors to your site if we do it right and you got a decent product. So I just said, let me use this as a business, less of let's move it out of the side business. Let's take it off one table and put it on the main table kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, that's where I created the agency and then started to help customers full time. And all the work that I do is basically, word of mouth or, referrals kind of stuff, which is great. So I don't have to do any kind of advertising or outreach. But at the same time, I don't want to get too big. I don't hire a whole lot. I've got a few contractors. I got a few people here. We basically help companies ongoing with Quora, YouTube, podcast interviews, that kind of stuff. We do all that kind of outreach and pitching to people. And occasionally we get lucky with, mainstream journalists and stuff. We do that anyways, but that's something we help them with. And then we can show them what we've done for them. And I'm not big into retainers. I'll show you what I can do this month. You pay me this month. If you want to do it again next month, we can. But there's no long-term commitments with me. I basically educate most of my clients, and then they go off and do it themselves or hire an agency to do it. And I'm fine with that because I get bored with the same product anyway. So, that's why I really went from a side gig project to a service that I turned into an agency. It's fun. I've gotten a lot of people who wanted to buy the service or buy the agency from me, and I'm not ready yet. Maybe in the future I absolutely will be, but right now it's fun. So I keep it going. It's very profitable and it's fun.
Amazing, man. Amazing. So it's really, really great, man. I think there's so many nuggets in here, and I think anyone listening, man, this is like a real, creative marketing mind you're listening to, and pick up as much as you can out of that. Because really, because people out there, they're doing the same thing over and over again, and they're not thinking of it from a creative angle. And a lot of people, like me included, like I haven't touched much B2C, so it's like very, knowing that you've kind of handled like all these B2C things, you're helping like the local businesses. You were talking about that Reddit subreddit, the electricians with their problems, it's just, these having that kind of full view of, marketing is this thing, and being able to, target the right channels and do it the right way, create that intrigue. It's really, really important, I think, for everybody to listen to someone like you, man. So
don't pigeonhole yourself. If you think SEO, Facebook ads, it's the only way I'm going to be popular. I got to start a podcast. I got to do all these things, or I got to do all these things that other marketers say I have to do. I don't believe it. One of the, I know we can't go on forever, but
we can.
One of the first, don't say that because I'll go 3 hours, man. I'm telling you, I'll grab some caffeine and just kidding. One of the first things I would say to people is, can I use guerrilla marketing tactics? When I talked to a commercial rug cleaner the other day, Friday, I think it was. I said, hey, do you have any stickers? Like, I don't have stickers. Like, bumper stickers. You don't have, this company was cleaned by whatever. Why not? I never thought of it. I'm like, try it. So this eyeglass company in case, what are the blue light blockers?
Yeah.
I wear these later at night, so when I'm on the computer, I don't get, the blue light thing that keeps you up all night. This company, there's their logo. I can't remember who they are. Costa. They had some boring, shitty ads. And I said to them, are they going to pay me? No, they're not going to. I said, there's a better way for you to do this. Fear marketing, getting people kind of nervous about something because you prevent people from staying up all night kind of thing. I put together a very rough image of what an ad they should use. It's the only ad they use now for a couple of channels, and I didn't charge them for it. I just, gave them some feedback. But that kind of thing is, the sticker, you just try to think, where's my audience, and what can I put in front of them to make them think of me, and how often can I do that? Daily, weekly? I see signs on. I live in the Boston area, and, we've got lots of traffic, the Big Dig and all that kind of stuff. So people are lined up in traffic all the time. You put a sticker with a QR code or something that says scan me and a pretty girl waving or something like that. People will see that. They'll scan it. You go to a website. Now you just got a visitor to your site. And what are they doing? They're doing this. They're driving and they're doing this.
Yep.
But they're on their site. Rather than, buying a big billboard that says, go to kensavage.com, he's cool or something. Nobody's going to, really start breaking out their, 95 or 65 miles an hour on the highway. They're going to type out something.
Right.
QR codes in public works. What was another one? A recruiter. I'm trying to just give you a bunch of hacks and dumps. A recruiter wanted to talk to more front-end software people. And I said, well, you can go find them on LinkedIn. Yeah, I've tried that. Well, you can go run a Facebook ad. Yeah, I've tried that. I'm like, all right, well, go down to Barnes & Noble and take your business card and stick it in a whole bunch of books that software engineers would buy. They're like, what that's not going to work. I'm like, you don't think so? Try it. Put your card in every single one of these books, find a whole bunch of books, wait a week or two and see how many phone calls you get like, hey, I got your card.
Man.
Sooner or later, she gave me a call about 2 months later and said, this is great. I've gone to, I think I'll tell you, Worcester, Shrewsbury, Burlington, 4 other Barnes and Nobles, and did the exact same thing. She goes and buys MOO.com.
Oh, sure.
These boxes of like 1,000 business cards. She's got them in the back of her car. She shows me this video. Hey, Ken, it's me. Look at the cards I got in the back. I'm going to do this thing. I'm like, I'm glad it worked for you. Pay me $19.95 a month or something. I didn't charge her, but those are growth hacks that work. That you have to think outside the box. She's in these paid groups of software or technical recruiters that are all doing the exact same thing. Think outside of that. You just get creative. Where's my audience and what can I put in front of them at a unique time that not everyone else is doing? That's the kind of stuff I've done. So
I love it, man. I love it. And it's funny because, a lot of the cats listening to this podcast are going to be, building their first service business, building their first agency, getting out there, trying to find clients and stuff. And I think that if you read between the lines on what Ken just said, you're going to find a nice little hack to find new customers as well for whatever problem you are solving with your service. So that was extremely, extremely valuable, man. And yeah, I don't want to keep you forever. I know you're busy, but thank you so much for being here, man. And so Ken's website is productlaunchpro.com. And you can search Ken Savage on Twitter and he pops up. I don't know. What's your handle again, man? Is it just Ken Savage? I forget now.
I'm at Ken Savage everywhere.
At Ken Savage everywhere.
Don't talk to me on LinkedIn. I don't use that anymore. But
don't talk to the dude. Don't talk to any of us on LinkedIn, man. We want to look at it. So sounds good. So follow Ken Savage on Twitter. Check out Product Launch Pro. And man, do a little hunt and try to go find this guy's other side projects because I'm sure you're gonna just find so much value in this dude's little ecosystem. So I want to thank you so much again, Ken, for coming on.
Come to Boston, buy me a beer. We can talk for hours and just record it all. So
I'll be there, man. I'll be there
whenever you're in town, Alex. I'm willing to talk this shit all day long.
You got it, brother. All right. Well, thank you so much again, man. All right. I really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Always Building. If you want to learn more about Always Building, our community, our membership group, and exclusive webinars and trainings and discounts on software and all kinds of fun stuff, get help along the journey so you're not all alone. Go ahead and check out alwaysbuilding.io. That's alwaysbuilding.io. And again, thank you so much. Best of luck on your journey, and you just let me know. You can reach out to me on Twitter or via email, alex@alwaysbuilding.io, or at always_building on Twitter. Okay, thanks again. Have a great one.